Hello and welcome to my world. I am, of course, Fred Kasdan. 7 nights a week, I stream live over on Twitch, playing a variety of video games. The link to my Twitch channel, of course, can be found in the description below. Now, of course, the past week has been topsy-turvy in so many shapes, ways, or forms, with a pandemic running rampant here, not just here in the United States, but across the globe. And I hope everybody is doing their due diligence um, to stay healthy, to try to avoid catching a nasty bug. Last Friday night, I did an 8-hour stream because I played the entire run of Batman the Telltale series on Xbox One. Now, prior to last week, I have played this game before. I played it over on, I played the Steam version back when this game was initially released in its episodic format. But with getting a console for the first time in nearly 6 years, Batman the Telltale series was a game I saw that it was on sale, cheap get, and it's an easy completion. Of course, this game did have a nice little trick up its sleeve pertaining to the fact that you can still create a Telltale account, or if you already had one and had cloud saving enabled, this game, the Xbox One version, I can basically recognize the fact that I played this game before, was going to download my save file, so would be converting a save from Steam over to the Xbox, and I thought that was pretty cool, pretty neat there. And I'm guessing like Telltale Games had this all worked out to where this was entirely possible. And it certainly made, at the very least, seeing what I did before and make notes to what to try to avoid. And my initial playthrough a couple years ago was primarily focused more on Penguin, interacting with the Penguin a lot more because of the how they tie the Cobblepots and the Waynes together and everything to make Cobblepot basically a justified villain for all the evil deeds that he was doing and the whole Children of Arkham nonsense and so forth. This time around, I focused more on interacting with Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, and logically thinking, I think the story of Batman the Telltale series works better if you interact primarily with Harvey. Harvey, you basically start interacting with him first prior to Penguin showing up, and go down that trail of madness. Like, you don't save Harvey at the debate, choosing to save Selina. Obviously, always save Catwoman, except in my initial playthrough. And and seeing how easily deranged he gets with his face being disfigured and being having the features of the monster that is within him was a nice touch. Not to mention, it led to a more satisfying ending with Penguin as opposed to Two-Face, because if you deal with Two-Face in episode 4 and episode 5, leaves off with you dealing with Penguin. So it definitely gives Penguin a bigger climax. I barely remember how Harvey's went. It was just like, okay, standard, he dealing with the mayor of Gotham who did things to Alfred. It's like, okay, fine. It was like it wasn't entirely memorable. But having the showdown with Harvey, aka Two-Face, out Wayne Manor, and then having to deal with the consequence. Okay, Cobblepot has basically forced Batman to disable the Bat computer and having to go things low tech at the start of the 5th episode. Made things a lot more interesting as the commissioner gets outright killed. in the opening of episode 5, and Batman definitely comes across as being more of a hero. I couldn't quite remember my initial react choices when dealing with John Doe, so I think I made the same choice there again as giving Joker, the inevitable Joker, the decision that he logically would want to make, taking advantage of the riot and making a phone call. I didn't see any differences there, and my interaction with Selena Kyle was basically the same straight through as my initial playthrough, aka Stealer from Harvey. Now, the big differences between the Xbox One version of this game and the Steam version can come down to pretty simple things. The graphical rendering of certain things on the Xbox One was glitchy as hell at times. Jim Gordon's cigarette smoke would just be a solid white uh image, like it moved the way that you would expect it to move, but it didn't always render as the standard cigarette smoke effects. The assistant, the secretary to not Dent, well, she would be the secretary to Dent, but I forget the guy's name. Oh, Hill, Mayor Hill. Her hair, the back of her head was straight up missing. It was like her mind was clearly blown. The Falcone's hideout, the entire building did not render. And again, this was on the Xbox One version of it, and it's like, and there were several other instances where a character was completely absent from the scene. Like, clearly she was there, and I'm referring to I think her name was Mendoza. She eventually becomes the Question in the comics. And was Bullock's quote unquote partner in the animated series. But at the start of, I think it's episode 3, no, it's either episode 3 or 4, if you choose to save her instead of backing up Harvey while he's on his way to giving a speech. She is entirely absent from the scene, which it's which make things rather odd. It's like, wow, these are some glaring glitches. And the funny thing is, though, a lot of these glitches, graphical issues that I came across were from a time when Telltale Games was not having the issues that they ended up having. Where they could have probably patched a lot of these out and fixed these things. So it's amazing that they were there, and they were quite glaring and obvious considering the bigger monitor I'm using, so I'm able to make note of such little issues and instances there. Still, in terms of recommending this game, if you can grab it off of the either on Steam or for PC or Xbox One, I do recommend it because the story is good and the choices are very compelling. And I look forward to actually getting around and doing an Xbox run of The Enemy Within, which is the sequel to this Epic Exotic Venture. So, which should be quite interesting based on the choices that I made and carried over, particularly since they didn't have Bruce reveal that he was Batman to Vicky Vale, aka Lady Arkham, which means Alfred will be rocking a sick eye patch when I get around to playing that particular game. So, with that said, I think we'll wrap up my vlog, my thoughts and opinions on this game here. If you have your thoughts on Batman the Telltale series, leave them in the comments section below. I'd love to read them. And of course, as a reminder, I do stream 7 nights a week over on Twitch. That link is in the description below. So with that said, tighten your friendship bracelets, watch your hang down, and we'll talk to you next week with more thoughts and opinions. Bye.